So now we're going to bring it all together. I've started again with the init patch, and what I want to do now is I want to create a rhythmical sequence with the oscillators. The first thing to do is I go to draw a waveform, and the first waveform is going to have loads of overtones like this. It's very jaggy. It sounds like this. So it's got loads of overtones in there. And then what I do is I'll make a second waveform here, which will be almost like a sine. Very roundish. I blur it a bit, even more, like this. Doesn't have many overtones. I copy this over to the last slot here, again with a duplicate menu item, and maybe have some small modifications like this, maybe like this. I blur it again, so it's like this now. Now I morph between this state and the one we previously did, and between the one we previously did and the first one. So now we've got a transition like this. I think something has to happen in here. Like we add something like a spike somewhere, and maybe even another spike here. Yeah, to make it a bit more interesting. And we morph that to the neighbors here and here. So now let's see what we got. Now we have got a couple of very different waveforms, and what I do now is I will use an LFO to modulate between these states. So I set this somewhere roughly in the middle, get an LFO that I put on, I take the global ones again, that I put on the waveform, and let's see what happens. So now the LFO morphs between the waveforms, and I will make it a bit faster. Like, let's see what a quarter does. Okay. Now I adjust to taste. Okay. So we have now got a rhythmical sequence with just the waveforms being cross-faded like a wavetable. I set up the resolution a bit more, like to 8, because I'm going to do something really weird now. We have this, which is a rhythmical sequence, and now I add this grumbler. So you see that this grumbler really scrumbles everything. And I choose another effect like the chop lifter, which basically it cuts overtones over a threshold, and or overtones below a threshold, and only leaves overtones above, through, and maximizes these, which is a kind of weird effect, and we'll see what it does now. Okay, I will probably just half the speed of the LFO. Okay, that's so nice. That's something nice. And now we of course have all the other options, like we add like a dual waveform. Or maybe even 11. And what we can also do is we can use velocity, for instance on the scrambler, to achieve different effects. So that the intensity and also the character of the effect totally changes with every keystroke. If we, this sounds like something we could combine with the inversion. And put an LFO on that as well, put another one. So you can see there are pretty endless possibilities with only one single oscillator in Zebra.